Hello everyone, welcome back to our channel. I wish everyone a very happy new year and a successful year ahead. So today's video is on UPSC syllabus orientation, book list, pattern, trend analysis, strategy for UPSC Mains 2026 of ethics paper. So in GS paper 4 segment, so we are having ethics theory as well as case study and these two components in the GS paper 4 students, and today's as part of the discussion we will be discussing ethics theory segment only. So in another video, we will discuss about the syllabus orientation and strategy for case study students. So today we will discuss the part one, that is the theory segment. With respect to theory segment, as part of UPSC in GS paper 4, ethics theory, that is ethics, integrity and aptitude. So UPSC has given us some directions also, students. That is, this paper will include questions to test the candidates' attitude and approach to issues relating to integrity, probity in public life, and his problem solving approach to various issues and conflicts faced by him in dealing with society. Questions may utilize the case study approach to determine these aspects. So the following broader areas will be covered. So then they are going into the syllabus component. So this is the expectation of UPSC from you in case of ethics paper. So try to understand, students, you need to show in your answer the integrity, probity in public life as well as the problem solving approaches through various issues and conflicts. So these are the three demands of the examiner with respect to UPSC, with respect to especially ethics theory segment, students. Let's go into the ethics theory syllabus also. Ethics and human interface. So this is one component of this syllabus component where they are given subtopics: essence, determinants and consequence of ethics in human actions, dimensions of ethics, that is ethics in private and public relationship, human values, lessons from the lives and teachings of great leaders, reformers, administrators, role of family, society and educational institutions in inculcating values. So overall, students, while reading this aspect of the syllabus, what is very important in GS paper 4 is the examiner is going to test you the ethics various values through a set of practical questions, and that will be applied questions only in the examination. So while reading the syllabus, the demand of the students is that you should try to understand what is the meaning of the each and every keyword mentioned in the syllabus. This is the first thing we need to work on while reading the syllabus, students. So whatever keyword the UPSC as mentioned, with respect to ethics, we need to understand the dimensions, then public and private relationships, then great leaders, reformers, administrators, all the keywords we should have necessarily some 10 points notes on that, student. So we should have a definitional approach and try to understand what is the importance of that value and its application. So while reading the application, students, we need to quote various examples. That examples can you can quote from your school life, college life, work life, and you can also quote from through the examples of various current affairs. Here you can include also the various administrators and moral thinkers aspect also. And even while mentioning the some of the points, you can quote the Bhagavad Gita's Nishkama Karma, like that various other moral thinkers and quotes aspect can be quoted in the ethics theory segment, students. So you need to work maximum on that aspect also while preparing the notes itself. So you need to read some essential materials which I will be suggesting as part of this video. So first we will go into the syllabus component. But while preparing the syllabus only, you need to understand what is the demand of the UPSC examiner from you, especially at 10 points on each and every keywords mentioned in the syllabus. While coming to the second segment, attitude, content, structure, function, its influence and relation with thought and behavior, moral and political attitudes, social influence and persuasion. So these two topics are playing a very huge role, students. So try to prepare better notes on that, especially various examples also. So the examples can be collected from IAS, IPS officers' life also. So while reading the newspapers, try to read the various example, students, as well as from UPSC toppers notes and their answer copies also, which I have shared in the Telegram group. So make use of that. Try to collect various examples, because examples from various walks of life, it should have various dimensions, means you are going to fetch maximum marks in ethics paper. I would be saying ethics theory segment reading is only 10%. What is very important in ethics paper is 90%, that is answer writing and practice. So you can easily cover the syllabus in a maximum of 1 week to 10 days. But answer writing practice is very important, because time management will be a problem, and how you present your answer also it will differ, like it is comparatively different from GS paper 1, paper 2, paper 3 segment, because ethics itself demands practical answer writing approach, students. So we have seen those answer writings in our UPSC toppers answer copies, like what are the demands of the various dimensions which are required in ethics paper. Now we'll go into the aptitude and foundational values for civil society, that is civil service, integrity, impartiality and non-partisanship, objectivity, dedication to public service, empathy, tolerance and compassion towards weaker sections. So you should also mention the Nolan committee recommendations also. So while reading the ethics, students, what is very important is you need to work upon various value addition components. Value additions will be separately dealing at the end of this video. What are the things extra you need to work upon? But first, important thing would be like these keywords: attitude, aptitude. You should also try to have various diagrams also. So try to pick the diagrams and try to see that where and all you can use these diagrams maximum in your answer writing. That also will yield you more marks. And coming to emotional intelligence, concepts, utilities, and application, here more examples you should work on, students, apart from reading the basic definition of emotional intelligence. Contribution of moral thinkers and philosophers is going to be very important. I would say this is the heartbeat of total UPSC ethics theory component. So reading this aspect, I will be telling you, refer only AS material on moral thinkers and philosophers. Try to make notes out of it. And coming to public service and values and ethics in public administration and probity in governance, for these two aspects of the syllabus, you need to read second ARC report, students. Already I have shared in the Telegram group the toppers notes for your second ARC report, and you can make use of any material also for that purpose, students. But what is the requirement is you should try to understand through second ARC report this syllabus component is covered in a very good manner, and you should try to collect most of the points from that material also while reading this syllabus component, that is civil service values and ethics in public administration and probity in governance. So subtopics are status and problems, ethical concerns and dilemmas in government and public private institutions, laws, rules, regulations and consents as a source of ethical guidance, accountability and ethical governance, strengthening of ethical and moral values in governance, the ethical issues in international relations and funding, corporate governance. This corporate governance is also very important topic. Try to make effective notes on that, students, where questions can be expected in the coming year also. Coming to probity in governance, concept of public service, philosophical basis of governance and probity, information sharing and transparency in government, right to information, code of ethics, code of conduct, citizen charters, work culture, quality of service delivery, utilization of public funds, challenges of corruption. So we should have meaningful, at least 10 points notes on all these topics, whatever they have mentioned in the syllabus, students. Accordingly, we need to prepare, but the preparation will go maximum for 1 week to 10 days. So I will be telling you the sources. You can make out of the time management that time, students. Let's now focus upon some of the important topics here. You need to focus on code of ethics, code of conduct, citizen charters, work culture, and then challenges of corruption. All these are very important topics where you should have effective notes, diagrams, and examples also. And coming to the sources, first standard source I will be suggesting is Lexicon book. So this particular book is available in Amazon also. You can order it, students. This is going to give you like the key points for all the keywords, like the 10 points definition and important points from that. So try to make notes out of that, students. And only for the moral thinkers and philosophers segment, I will be suggesting you to refer only IAS Prahar material, the recent edition, where you can collect quality points from that for the various thinkers also. And coming to the UPSC Mains 2025 PYQ questions, in the present digital age, social media has revolutionized our way of communication and interaction. However, it has raised ethical issues and challenges. Describe the key ethical dilemmas in this regard. So this question is pertaining to social media, students. So we need to break the questions into various segments and try to address each segment of the question more or less in an ethical way. What is very important in answer writing approach in case of ethics is you should have diagrams, and you should have various examples as a, like a justification to whatever you are saying, and you should use various keywords of ethics, that is transparency, accountability, empathy, compassion. So all whatever keywords they have mentioned in the syllabus, you should make use of that all in your answer writing approach. So accordingly you need to present your answer, and what is very important is also linking your answers with moral thinkers aspect as well as with various current affairs examples. That is what is going to fetch you maximum marks in the examination. And coming to next question, constitutional morality is not a natural sentiment but a product of civil education and maturity of the sense of rule of law. Examine this statement in the light of role of civil servants in upholding constitutional morality, promoting good governance and ensuring accountability in public administration. So the overall question is revolving around the constitutional morality principle. You can define that and then you can try to look into the positives and negatives of that in the light of civil servant students, and then you need to present your answers with the help of various ethical values keywords in your answers. Coming to the second question, Karl von Clausewitz states that war is the continuation of politics by other means. Critically examine the relevance of this statement in the present context of contemporary geopolitics. So basically students, here the particular question is pertaining to current affairs related examples with respect to international relations. So you need to mention such kind of examples in your answers. Then only will be fetching extra marks. So war is a continuation of politics by other means. So you can quote various Russia-Ukraine war as example and Indo-Pakistan wars as examples in the past and the current examples also. Like whatever the other kinds of wars which are evolving in the recent Indo-Pakistan related conflicts. You can quote also example to justify your answer through these quotes also students. And coming to considering the national security in mind, examine the ethical dilemmas related to controversial issues of compensation in case of developmental projects in ecologically sensitive areas in border areas in the country. So basically this question is also pertaining to current affairs related questions students, but we need to talk about the ethical dilemmas. So we need to quote various examples. The examples can be quoted from like all the bordering countries such as Arunachal Pradesh, and you can also quote Uttarakhand related examples, and you can also quote various northeastern other borders also where we have problems with Myanmar. But what is very important is we need to justify your answers with the help of these examples, especially the various developmental projects. You can quote hydroelectric projects which are happening in Uttarakhand, and then border roads development in case of Arunachal Pradesh, how it is leading to displacing of various scheduled tribe communities and how it is affecting the otherwise the dimension is having in relation to national security also. So you have to write in this aspect students, but what is very important is the usage of examples. Without that, we cannot get any marks in ethics answers. Coming to third question, given below are the three quotations. So these three quotes are picked from ethics quotes based segment. Here the answer writing approach is very different, which I have discussed in our UPSC answer writing copy, that is UPSC toppers answer copy series. So kindly look into that students. So the first quote is pertaining to, so the question is pertaining to, you need to convey the quote in the present context, that is current affairs related examples. That should be the main body of your answer. That whenever we are interpreting the quote, you should try to write what is the meaning of the quote and what do you understand by it in the present context, and what is the application of the quote with the help of various current affairs examples. This is how you need to present your answer writing approach. So the first question is pertaining to Thiruvalluvar's quote, that is those who in trouble untroubled are will trouble the trouble itself. So it speaks about the inner strength of a student. Whenever a problem comes, they have to give a problem to the problem itself. That is what Thiruvalluvar says in this particular quote students. So that's how the inner strength of a person should be. So we should try to understand and correlate to the examiner the meaning of this quote in simple words. Then we should try to relate it with the present context today, like how during COVID pandemic we faced a lot of hardships, but still we survived as a society. And you can also relate various examples from current affairs also. So you should meaningfully talk about the current affairs related examples, and those examples can be given from national, local, state-wise or international columns also. So you need to necessarily follow newspapers and collect accordingly the examples also, and from various resources we have shared in the Telegram group, make use of that students. The greatest discovery of my generation is that a human being can alter his life by altering his attitudes of mind. So William James. So this particular quote you can easily interpret the meaning and you should relate it to the present context. The strength of a society lies not in its laudable ideals but in the morality of its people. So the strength is morality and ethics. We need to talk about the application of Swami Vivekananda's quote in present context students. Fourth question, for any kind of social re-engineering by successful implementation of a welfare scheme, a civil servant must rise above personal biases and prejudices to maintain objectivity. Justify this statement with suitable examples. It's a 10 marker question. What is very, very important is we should understand the meaning of social engineering, that is, upliftment of weaker sections and reducing the inequality in the society. So, whenever any IAS or IPS officer or any administrator, for that matter, students, they need to be unbiased. They should not have any prejudices towards any community. They should not treat any community with inequality. So these are the qualifications a civil servant should have. That is impartiality, in, like unbiasedness in case of service. All this you should quote with the help of various examples through various IAS, IPS officers in India. That is what is important. Next question: what are the major teachings of Mahavira? Explain their relevance in the contemporary world. So example is very, very important. We need to talk about examples across the world, students. And what is very important is we should also convey the teachings of Mahavira, such as the most important qualities, such as that is truth, non-violence, not stealing, and non-possessiveness. All these important teachings we should convey through pictorial representation also to fetch maximum marks. Coming to the fifth question, one who is devoted to one's duty attains highest perfection in life. Analyze this statement with reference to sense of responsibility and personal fulfillment as a civil servant. So basically, students, they are asking you to write from a civil servant perspective. That is what is very, very important. So what is very important is they are asking you to talk about dedication to public service as one of the important quality in civil service. You need to necessarily quote second ARC report in your answer, students. That is what is very important. So you should necessarily read the second ARC report as I mentioned in the syllabus component also. Next question: to achieve holistic development of your goal, a civil servant acts as an enabler and active facilitator of growth rather than a regulator. What specific measures will you suggest to achieve this goal? So this particular question is pertaining to civil servant acting as an enabler. So citizen-centric governance you should necessarily quote as a prominent theme in the question, and you should try to suggest various measures also to achieve this. And you should quote the government's various mission Karma Yogi and all those committees recommendations also in your answers to fetch maximum marks. Sixth question: it is said that for an ethical work culture there must be code of ethics in place in every organization. To ensure value based work culture, what suitable measures would you adopt in your workplace? So this is pertaining to work culture, students, and this is important component in your syllabus also, but you need to talk about the code of ethics. So what is very, very important is the second ARC report on this and the code of ethics. You should try to relate it and fetch maximum mark. India is an emerging economic power of the world, as evident from the recent trends in GDP growth rate, foreign exchange reserves, and IMF projection. However, it is still a developing country. In this context, how will you justify the need for an ethical framework for sustaining economic growth of the country? Discuss. So, you need to talk about the various challenges India as a developing country is facing, such as the challenges of corruption, and that is mentioned in your syllabus. So, you need to talk about the various dimensions of like environment related conflicts and other land acquisition related problems and other inequalities in the society, but corruption should form a prominent theme in your answer, and you should quote this with the help of various challenges and examples also in Indian example context. Let's look at the pattern of the ethics theory in GS paper for students. Overall, in ethics, you have two segments: section A, theory component; section B, case study. So, case study we'll discuss tomorrow. But with respect to ethics theory, students, overall, here they will be asking you 130 marks out of 250 marks. And out of these 130 mark students, initially when they started in 2013, they used to ask 8 questions, but now the number of questions in the UPSC Mains examination is staying around 6. So overall, but it will be having sub-components also. That is sub-questions, it is including 13 questions. Previously, it used to have 14 sub-questions. Now there will be 13 sub-questions, and that will carry each 10 marks, that is 130 marks. And case study will be carrying another 120 marks, that is 6 case studies, and each case study will carry 20 marks. So total 6 into 20, that is 120 marks for case study students. So this is how the pattern of ethics in case of GS paper 4. What is very important is you need to work upon the focus areas also. Let's now look upon the trend analysis, that is from what to how. In 2013, the questions relatively asked for only definition students, but now the focus is on application. So work on various examples. Code-based evolution is also observable because before they used to ask Western thinkers, now they are asking Indian philosophers like Thiruvalur, Vivekananda, Guru Nanak, and then Abdul Kalam, Sardar Vallabhai Patel. So try to work on Indian-based philosophers also with the recent trend. Technology and ethics. With respect to that, there is a mandatory question on AI's role in case of ethics. So work on that and the social media dilemmas. National security and international relations. This is forming a frequent theme in recent ethics paper. So IR related ethics, you need to work on Russia-Ukraine conflict, and then weapon industries, border development in sensitive areas component, legal ethical interface. So there is an increasing focus with respect to legal versus letter of law, that is BNS law and the role of substance over form. So try to work on these aspects, students. Let's now focus upon the strategy with respect to syllabus. Ethics and human interface. With respect to this syllabus component, I would be suggesting prepare on contemporary dilemmas like work on the ethics of gene editing, deepfakes, climate justice. When the syllabus mentions human values, link them to socio-economic context. So accordingly, we need to work upon the recent trend, students. Attitude and aptitude segment, work on social reengineering concept and collect examples of civil servants. Emotional intelligence concept, try to link EI with respect to conflict resolution. Don't just to define EI, try to explain how a district magistrate, that is IAS or IPS officer, is handling a communal riot with the help of various examples from current affairs, or protest against a developmental project in an ecologically sensitive zone. Examples from current affairs you need to quote. On contribution of thinkers, here you need to refer only as material. Western and Indian philosophers, try to work on Indian philosophers like Tirukural, Buddhist ethics, Gandhian talisman, which are playing an important role. Public service values and probity in governance, here you need to work upon the recent new laws, corporate governance concept and work culture in a very important manner, students. Let's now work upon the marks distribution. UPSC Ethics GS Paper 4, we know two segments are there, Section A and Section B. Section A, we have theory component, 13 questions, 130 marks. That comes around 52% in the total marks distribution, that is 130 out of 250. Ethics case study carries 48% weightage. And value addition resources for ethics, Vision Monthly Magazine. So mains material you can refer for the examples from current affairs. Second ERC report you need to necessarily read. UPSC toppers notes, UPSC toppers answer copy we have discussed in our evaluation series. Try to look into that, students, for the answer writing approach for ethics, and current affairs based examples also to fetch maximum marks in ethics. In case of any further doubts or challenges in ethics answer writing or concept and approach, students, you can contact us in the Telegram link which is given in the description box below. Thank you, students.